Welcome back to another episode of the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by two grad students on the Loyola women's lacrosse team, Riley and Logan Olmstead. Riley is coming back after being injured, and in her junior year, she was named Patriot League Defender of the Week and finished the season with 12 ground balls and 9 caused turnovers. Logan last season had 9 ground balls, 1 turnover, and a career high 16 caused turnovers as she helped Loyola to another Patriot League Championship. Both players helped their high school to 3-section Class A championships as well. Thank you so much, Logan and Riley, for coming on the podcast today. And how's everything going?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, it's been going great.
Yeah.
I mean, we love being back with all of our best friends, and it's just awesome to be back with coaches, move into a new house, which is fun with all of our girls. So it's been great being back.
how was your guys' summer this year? Did you guys do anything interesting, whether it was lacrosse related or not?
Yeah, so I obviously, like you said, I've been doing a lot of rehab this summer, which has been a grind, but it's great to be back. I also am looking to go to med school, so I did some shadowing this summer at Mercy Hospital. So that was an incredible experience, and I just loved every minute of it. And yeah, just rehabbing and getting back to playing, and yeah, it was a great summer.
Yeah, and every 4 years our team does an international trip. So luckily this summer it was one of those years. So the whole team, we went to Portugal and Spain together, which was so fun. An international trip with your best friends, like
There's nothing better.
Yeah, it's the best time. So we ended up playing the Dutch national team, which was a lot of fun. And then we went to two like daycare schools, brought our sticks, gave some sticks away. It was a lot of fun to just spread the game and grow the game too.
That's awesome. What part of Spain did you guys visit? I'm assuming Madrid.
No, so we actually did southern Spain. So we went to Montegordo and Lisbon in Portugal, and then we went to Ronda in Spain.
And fun fact, his name's Golden on the men's basketball team. He's from Ronda, which was like the craziest thing. We didn't realize he was from there. And then we had class with him the other day. He was asking about our trip, and we're like, "Oh, we went to Ronda," and he was like, "That's where I'm from." And we were all like, "What?"
It was a great experience.
You probably wish you guys known that before your trip so you could
Right?
see around his house. That would be
Exactly.
pretty cool. So now, obviously, outside of all the fun stuff you guys been doing, what have you guys been hoping to work on next season regarding training? Riley, I'll start with you.
Yeah, obviously, personally, just getting back to good health and working on that has been a great challenge for me, both mentally and physically. But it's a new year, so I'm kind of just trying to focus on that with all of the players and our coaches. So really getting back into playing with the team. I think it's important that we always keep in mind where our feet are. So just focusing on the fall right now and building that relationship as a new team.
Logan, how about you?
Yeah, and to go off of that, I think coming off of such a successful year, you love to keep that in mind, but it's almost this time where we have to kind of put it on the back burner and realize this is a new year, a new team, and we always have new expectations for ourselves, new standards, and I think it's just exciting to continue to build off, but also build new things for the future too.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to believe that you guys are fifth-year players on the team. So what type of leadership do you guys want to bring towards the team? Would you guys consider yourself vocal leaders or lead by example type of leaders as well? I guess, Logan, I'll start off with you.
Yeah, I think a big privilege of coming back for your 5th year is you've had 5 different teams, which means you've had a variety of different captains, a variety of different examples of how to be a leader. And with those varying, examples, I think I'm most inclined to lead by example, but I think in learning from so many different captains and leaders around me, I think in watching them, I can find what qualities of theirs I can make my own. So I'm trying to kind of grow on my leadership skills, especially maybe being a little bit more vocal. But I think the best part of being a 5th year, like I said, is taking what I've learned for the past 5 years or 4 years and using it in my last year here.
Yeah, I think for me, I always thought I was like a lead by example type of player and leader. But especially last year, not being able to play, I think I was definitely a vocal leader, and how, I, for the most part, was pretty good at cheering everyone on and, being that kind of constant source of good energy. Of course, there's highs and lows with that, but I definitely think, like Logan said, I'm still developing that leadership style. but having so many great examples before us has just been, such a privilege and an honor. And, figuring that out as the year comes.
Now, when do you guys officially start like practicing as a team, and what do you guys work on in the fall before the season begins?
Yes, we've already started practice, which has been so fun. We just really build on, the idea that we're a new team and, get back to basics, all of those kind of things. Like I said, we always like to be where our feet are and just realize that, you got to put a lot of work in now to be successful later on. So yeah, back to basics. And when you're doing that with the amazing and talented coaches we have, it's just so fun, and you get better and you don't even realize it sometimes.
And one motto kind of Jen set for this fall was, the fall is where you learn and you build and you feed for the spring. So knowing everything we're doing now is going to prepare us for eventual success in the spring, I think is something we always keep in the back of our minds, and with every intention during practices and drills in the fall. But like Riley said, I think our main priority is just getting better in the fall, taking it one step at a time, and then yielding those results in the spring when it comes to it.
Now, what are your team's goals and expectations for next season? Obviously, you guys had a really successful year last year, so how do you hope to, I guess, build off that? And do you have sort of any things you want to accomplish as a team, but also individually as well?
Yeah, I think always our goal is to do extremely well in Patriot League and to get that Patriot League Championship title, and then to go even further. I think we all are really hungry for getting past that Elite Eight game that we've made it to, which has been awesome the past 2 years. I think that's one goal, is to kind of make it past that hump and get into that Final Four and then eventually the national championship. But again, I mean, our goals right now are just basically to grind through the fall and learn and build and get that chemistry so that we can eventually get those goals. And I think personally, to pick up where I left off, I felt really good coming off of last season, and I think to not want to strive for more and be hungry for more would be a disservice to myself and then all my teammates and our coaches. So I'm always hungry for more. I'm excited to learn from all my teammates, even the new girls coming in. I think you can learn from everyone on the team. And I'm even within this, within our first couple of practices, I'm learning so much from everyone around me. So just continuing to be adaptable and taking everything in and soaking everything in. I mean, this is it's crazy to say it's the last year. So also just stepping back a lot and just enjoying the moment and embracing it and not, getting too worried about, the end, just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. And just for me, I mean, obviously the team goals, like Logan said, it was amazing. And, realizing that this is our last year to play on this team. So just really making the most of it. And I've just had such a different perspective from last year. So really just taking it all in, enjoying the moment, and just feeling so grateful that I get to play one more year here at Loyola. It's just the best feeling in the world. So really taking that in and, getting back on the field and, playing how I used, even if it's different, but getting back on the field is really important to me. But just enjoying every moment with this team really is probably my main goal for this season.
So let's transition now and talk about the beginning of your guys' lacrosse careers and sort of work all the way up to where you are today with Loyola. So from the research I did on yourself, you guys are from Painted Post, New York.
Yeah.
So talk about growing up there and how'd you both start playing?
Yeah, it's pretty small town in upstate New York, but it's heavy focus on lacrosse. Yes. Our dad grew up playing there. Our cousin Ainsley Baker, who played at Virginia, grew up playing there. Our brother, who played at Loyola, and a lot of different role models, I'd say, growing up for us, went on to play Division I lacrosse. But just having that family background of lacrosse was really important. I mean, we didn't even start playing lacrosse seriously until like middle school. We were big soccer players and we danced. So it was like not anything that was ever forced on us, but I mean, it's like in our blood. So we like definitely knew we wanted to do Division I lacrosse. And I think we had a lot of great high school teammates, and Coach Scanlon, one of the best high school lacrosse coaches we could have had. So yeah, it was really, a fun upbringing up there, and our family was just so amazing, and our parents really, supported us all the time. So
Now, growing up, guys, did you have like a favorite like team or player that you liked watching the most? I guess Logan, I'll ask you that question. So
Yeah, I mean, our cousin Ainsley Baker, like we said, played at Virginia, and she's a couple years older. I'm not gonna age her in this podcast, but we were in kindergarten when she graduated and moved on to Virginia. So watching her, I mean, you idolize your cousins anyway, let alone when they go and play Division I lacrosse, which is also your dream. So, I mean, definitely watching her. We had two other cousins, Jamie and Andy Hepton. They played at Detroit Mercy, and I know Aiden looked up to them a lot. And I know it's the men's game, but watching them achieve their highest dream at the highest level is something, you know, we always looked up to and admired and knew that we wanted that for ourselves. And even Aiden, like whether it was in the backyard and what faking us out with every fake pass and everything. Yes, it got annoying, but watching him in high school and his travel team and even eventually in college, because he's 2 years older than us, I think watching him again achieve his highest dream at the highest level was a privilege because it's your brother and you're proud of him anyways, but for it to be your best friend and for your role model to achieve those dreams too, it's very inspiring and really put that motivation in the forefront of our goals and accomplishments as well.
Any good backyard stories with your brother? I'm assuming he kind of pushed you guys
actually,
around a lot.
now that you brought it up.
So I'm the only righty between Aiden and Riley. So whenever we do like shooting competitions, it would always
we called it lax. So it was like pig in the back for basketball.
For
we called it lax.
everyone
Everyone probably does.
They would always gang up on me and it'd have to be a lefty, but I won a few times off of a lefty shot. So I mean, I probably could have put in more work with my left hand, but to beat them more times. But I mean, yeah, we were always super competitive. Yeah. So there were arguments were had. Yeah. Like there were always going to be little fights and people ganging up on each other. But
we also used to play goalie like when we were younger because no one else would. So he would make us get in the goal, and that was a scary sight. But
it's funny that we would tell him not to shoot sidearm because like as goalie you shouldn't be afraid of the ball, but we'd be like, you can't shoot sidearm. Like,
or we're telling dad.
Yeah, I'm the youngest sibling, so I get that. And I played hockey, so you always get thrown in the net when you're the youngest, I feel like. But you know, it's all fun because I became a pretty good goalie. So even though I chose to be a forward at the end of the day, but you know, it's always fun to look back on that for sure.
Everyone's got to go through their goalie phase a little bit.
For sure.
Absolutely. What has your dad sort of meant for you guys in your career? Because he obviously played for Notre Dame, and did he ever sort of like talk about that with you guys? I'm assuming you probably want to be humble about it, but I'm assuming you sort of nagged him and got a few stories out of him about his experience.
Yeah. We have the funniest picture. He kept his jerseys and like one of his sticks and like his box helmet that was just like
the old school helmet.
An old school helmet. When we were younger, we'd put on his jerseys, and our dad's a very humble guy. And I mean, he had an assist record or the most assists in a game record for like the longest time, but we never knew about it until I think one of the Kavanaugh brothers broke it, and my dad's like, huh. He's like, and we were like, what? He's like, he just broke my record. And we're like, we had no idea he even had a record like that. But yeah, I mean, he was the prime example of, you know, putting in the work when no one's watching. I mean, he was always stringing up the net in the backyard for us. He always made sure we had anything, and my mom really, anything we wanted to succeed, especially, you know, in the backyard. And he would always say backyard lax is where technique and, you know, that lacrosse IQ is built. So just embracing that and playing with my dad in the backyard and all three of us playing, and my mom even joining in, even though she played basketball in high school. But she also was very influential. She pulled out the rule book and started learning the game just so that she could help us, you know, achieve what we wanted to with lacrosse. And I think just having so many role models in our life with lacrosse has just been, you know, the best thing for us in learning the game and, you know, wanting to pursue excellence in the game and to pursue this level of lacrosse.
Now, before college, both of you guys played for Corning Painted post high school. So what was your high school lacrosse experience like, and what's like the best memory you have from those days? I guess, Riley, I'll start off with you.
I used to play midi back then. So I mean, we played high school lacrosse in 8th grade, and that was kind of a crazy start experience, just being an 8th grader playing against seniors. But like I said, we had great coaches, we had some great teammates. and it just really showed us, I mean, it showed me, I'll say, I know it showed you too, but the hard work that goes into becoming a great lacrosse player. But also shows that, when you get to college, it's such a different level. But I look back and I just am so grateful for all of, my lacrosse experiences. And I guess my favorite memory, I would say, I mean, obviously winning sectional championships exciting, but we went to Massapequa on Long Island and played them over spring break and we won. So that was just such a fun experience, to play a Long Island team and beat them. Was just a huge accomplishment in our mind. So that's probably my favorite lacrosse
Yeah, I was gonna say
memory.
that was my favorite too. Yeah, but I mean, growing up in a town where lacrosse is huge and you start young, I think you have so many role models. We had Haley Lucifer, who played at Virginia Tech. We had Malia Freisinger, who won 2 national championships at UNC. So just then following in their footsteps, I mean, we did all of the high school summer camps up until we were coaching them. And I think even just that as a memory, like you look up to those girls and then you eventually become someone that other little girls are looking up to. And I think that's another important aspect of growing the game, is giving back to the game. And I have a lot of pride for playing in Corning, and I always want to make sure, what I'm doing with lacrosse gives back to that in some type of way. And I think going back and still participating in any camps or clinics or anything also just draws on those really important memories and prideful memories too.
Good one.
No, you both also played for the Salt City Snipers. That's a really cool name. What was your club lacrosse experience like, and how do you think it helped prepare you for college?
Yeah, I mean, we text Kate Knoll and Drew White, who were the 2 club coordinators, but specifically our coaches, all the time. And every time I'm like, thank you. Like, they truly got us ready for Loyola and to play Division I lacrosse. And I know they really reiterated to us, like, you are meant for this. You can't do this. This is what you were meant to do. And, going from high school into that club team, we definitely at first weren't the best players. And I think that was a little bit something new for us, and it was a challenge at first, but we fully embraced it. And I think learning from them and learning from those high caliber teammates only made us better. I mean, to have someone push you, every week to be your best, and whether it was feedback you wanted to hear, but it ultimately was feedback we needed to hear. And I just have so much respect and love for both of them, because they got us to where they are, and they're constantly checking in, and it's just a family. And our club teammates, fun fact, we had 3 sets of twins on that team, which is crazy. But I mean, we had teammates going to Northwestern who just won a national championship, Michigan, Charlotte Ryan at Navy, we play her every year in the Patriot League. So just to see that community, even you're playing against them all the time, I think is a testament to that club team and the high caliber lacrosse players they produce and develop. And I think, I mean, that's also one of my favorite memories of starting with lacrosse, was playing for them.
And they even came to our signing. And so, I mean, they always said, like, we would have to drive 2 hours to practices. So they were like, the least we could do is drive 2 hours to, watch you sign your national letters of intent. But like Logan said, it's just such a family experience, and we talk to them still all the time. So
No, this is the part of the podcast you guys have to say something nice about each other, because one thing that's pretty unique about both of you is you guys have grown up with one another and got to play Division I collegiate lacrosse with one another, which not many siblings can say that, which is probably really cool. So just talk about sort of what your twin sister has meant to you, and how you guys have sort of helped each other out throughout your career. I guess I'll start with Logan for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a dream of ours to, play college lacrosse. And fun fact, like, even leading into the recruiting process, we told each other that whether we end up at the same school or we don't, like, we have to do what's best for each other. And I think it's just a testament to Loyola, the university in general, and the lacrosse program, that we found a home individually. At Loyola, but I think sharing this experience with Riley has truly made it what I know it was meant to be. And I think I've always said that Riley is my favorite teammate, because she's the hardest person to go up against in practice. And I if there's one person I don't want to lose to, it's Riley, but it makes me better in that way. But she's also one of my favorite teammates to learn from. And I know that with any look I give her, I'm going to get what I need, whether it's an encouragement or support, or if it's that little extra competitive push to make me go faster or quicker or harder in a drill and in a game. To have someone you're so comfortable with, but also have someone that will make you uncomfortable to make you better and hold you accountable, I think is what I love most about playing with you.
I would say, for Logan, she's just, a constant source of support, of making me a better person, not just a better player. And going through an injury last year was really difficult, but having someone who supports you 24/7 was what got me through it. And I'm just so proud of her in the season she had individually, and how she helped the defense but helped the team. And just watching the whole team made me so proud, but especially being able to watch your best friend and my sister really accomplish her goals, and it was truly incredible. Like she said, we're both very competitive with one another. So there's definitely been some fights, but she makes me a better player, a better person. So you truly, I couldn't have dreamt a better experience than having it with my sister.
So I don't know how we can top this next that question, but
I know you're gonna have to send that to our parents or something.
They're gonna see it on Instagram and start crying.
They'll probably use that whenever you guys get in an argument next time, just so that clip.
Remember what you said.
But let's talk about your recruiting process now. So obviously both of you guys started to go to Loyola. So what was it like going through the recruiting process, and what made the decision to go to Loyola the right one for you? Riley, I'll start off with you.
Yeah. It's always a dream to go through the recruiting process because that's what you've always wanted. But I think the main thing for me was, being a twin your whole life, you're constantly compared to one another, or you're grouped together, or seen as one. But I can tell you that, Jen, Dana, Hager, they always made us feel like we were our own individual people and our own individual players. And that meant the absolute world to us. And it truly made me feel like I was going through my own experience, and they wanted me for me, not just because I'm a twin.
Yeah.
So, having that really made me feel like I could be a part of this family, could be part of this team. But also just Loyola as a university. It sounds so cliche, but everyone says when you step on the campus, but it's just so true, especially when it's such a special place like Loyola. But just having I have some of the best relationships with my professors now. So I truly feel like I knew I would be the best version of myself as a player here, as a student here, and as a person here. And I think that for anyone who's going through that process, that's kind of what you want to look for.
Yeah, and I think the thing that stood out, like Riley said, the coaches would literally hang up and call me, or if they talked to Riley first, they'd hang up and then a second later call me. But I think it was the act of them treating it like two different players that they wanted, rather than putting it on speaker and speaking to us at the same time. Made me feel like they wanted me for me, not just because we're twins. And they were very supportive of you each have to go through this process yourself, and if one comes to the decision sooner than the other, that's what's meant to be. And with Aiden, I mean, obviously he was recruited first and committed first and was going there first, and I know we were a little nervous to bring up to him that we wanted to go on a visit there and talk with the coaches. But when we did, he was like, this is your process. This is going to be the next 4 years of your life. You can't spend it worrying about what I would think. Or if I was talking to him, he'd be like, you can't let it make you worry about what I would think and what would Riley think. This is the next 4 years of your life, and even after, because what I found is that I'm going to bring Loyola and what I've learned there at the university, from my professors, from my peers, from my coaches, from my teammates, way past, the now 5 years, 5 years I've spent there. So truly falling in love with the place was important to me. And I know it sounds cliche, but I loved Loyola the second, I stepped on. And then I remember Riley and I literally started crying when we were leaving. We're like, this is the best.
And as a freshman, what was the biggest adjustment you both had to make to college lacrosse?
I think definitely the speed.
Yeah.
I still remember our first college practice like it was yesterday. Like our heads were getting whipped around. Like it was just crazy. And you expect it, but in another sense, like you do not expect it. And I think back to that, first practice, the energy also, I mean, I still get chills like every time we step off or step on the field for the first practice, and really every practice after that. But I mean, there's nothing like stepping on the field for practice. Like everyone, I mean, you've just gotten your gear, everyone's so excited, like whether you have a run test or not, or a lift test, like everyone's so excited to be back. And I mean, that also tends to make it a really fast practice because the adrenaline's pumping. But I think that was, definitely the biggest adjustment was the speed of play and needing to adapt to that very quickly.
I'd say the same. I think having, awesome upperclassmen teammates at the time really helped us, get through that and adjust quickly. So that is something that we try to bring, now that we're grannies.
And unfortunately, your freshman year got cut short due to COVID. So how did you handle that challenge and adversity of not finishing that season, but also having the challenge of sort of finding a way to train for whenever you had games coming up, because that was sort of uncertain at that time. But I feel like looking back, it probably ended up working out, because I feel like if there's any year to have it, probably your freshman year is sort of it. So you have like 3 more years left of eligibility, or now 4 technically, but at the time.
Absolutely. And I think like taking that experience and now seeing it as a positive, lacrosse wise, I think, now we're getting another degree within a year, that maybe you never know if we would have pursued this MBA if it weren't for getting an extra year. And I think Jen always reiterated, not spending too much time asking what if, because it's wasting your energy on something that you can't control and that, isn't certain. And I think sitting in that, I mean, we did sports psych sessions over Zoom when school ended as a lacrosse team together. And, we stayed in contact and we did little at-home workouts. And I think in growing through that experience together, we all learned, the power of addressing your feelings, and especially with mental health, and, taking that traumatic experience and turning it into something really positive and beautiful, and using it to learn more about yourself as a person first and then as a lacrosse player, I think was the greatest lesson I learned coming out of that, and not focusing on the what ifs, because it's nothing that you can change now, and using that energy and that time into something that you can control and something you can make happen, I think was another lesson, especially from Jen, that I'm grateful for, and that came because of COVID.
Now, Riley, talk about playing in the Patriot League and just the competition that you face each game, and what's it like winning the Patriot League Championship? Because you guys have done that a few times before.
I mean, obviously it's the best feeling in the world to, win your conference, but the cool thing about the Patriot League is it's just constantly getting better and more competitive. So that's just such a great atmosphere to be a part of, and it pushes us to be, the best versions of ourselves. So yeah, it's great to be a part of this conference, and I know that we take it really seriously, and we, respect our competition, and that's always, in the back of our minds when, we play them and go for that championship.
Now, during your guys' collegiate careers, you guys have kept improving and getting better. So what would you say is the biggest improvement that you've made to your game throughout your time with Loyola? Logan, I'll start with you, and then Riley, you can follow up.
Yeah, I mean, I think learning from 3 of the best coaches in the game of lacrosse, one is the biggest privilege, because I've learned more about the game in the past 5 years than I ever had imagined. So I think my lacrosse IQ has definitely gotten better. And I mean, you always need improving, so it's still getting better. And I love, sitting down with Dana. She loves to, recap film. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I've come to appreciate more, especially watching practice film. And I think being more adaptable and being adaptable quicker. So taking in that feedback you get from them and being able to implement it like within the next drill or within the next play. And I think that also just speaks to our coaches and how much they love, fostering players and or I guess implementing that trust, so that when we do receive that feedback, we know that they're making us better and they want us to grow and make us better. So then in turn, you're like, I'm going to take that feedback because I want to get better and take what they give us and turn it into something really productive and efficient and awesome on the field.
I think a big part to both of our games is definitely, kind of the attitudes that we go about playing too. So like for me, I just know that I'm just grateful for every opportunity, and that might have been something I struggled with before, but not trusting my gut, I've become a lot better at, which I could only really do if it weren't for my coaches and my teammates and all of the defensive leaders that we've had before. I've been able to learn from them. So just taking what I get from other people and implementing it like Logan said, but also just having that trust in myself. It's been something that I'm fostering and has been helping me, and I think I'm being able to pass that on to younger players as well.
Now, you both are really good defensive players. I think that's probably the strongest part of your game, obviously being defenders. But how do you guys both work on your defensive part of your game, especially the one-on-ones? Because Logan, watching you play last year, that was sort of something that really caught my eye, was how good you were at one-on-one defending, especially in the tournament. So how do you sort of work on that? Riley, I'll start off with you, and then Logan, you can follow up.
Yeah, I think becoming great defenders really takes a lot of practice. But just having, we play against some of the best competition every day, and that's in practice. And we have some of the best offensive players in the game. So being able to play against them and get beat by them, makes me and makes everyone on our team better defenders. So just having that opportunity to play against some of the best players in the game. And I think too, like not being afraid of making mistakes. And just, asking people to go out and before practice to do extra reps is something that is really humble, but makes you better players at the end.
Yeah, and I think I was just going to say the biggest thing that I think helped my game was those extra reps. And even since freshman year, I was texting everybody like who wants to do 1v1 reps, and I'm sure it was like or even if it was after practice, like we just did it. But I think even just for my confidence, I think that was really important. And, to be the best defender I wanted to be and I could be, it takes that extra practice. And, I feel like I can pride myself in saying I never shied away from that. And, absolutely what Riley said, playing against some of the best attackers in the country. I mean, going against Sydney Black every day, going against Livy every day at the crease, it pushed me harder than I could have ever imagined. And that's what made me prepared for tournament play and for Patriot League. And I think also something that I learned a lot from Katie Depp was watching practice film, but not watching only myself. And I think that's a trap maybe I fell into too much in the beginning of my career, but it's just as important to watch the play, not including you, so that, when you're put in different situations on the D end or different positions, or say I do get caught up top, which I like up top defending a lot more now because I started watching those girls around me and what they were doing to then learn from them, made me a lot more confident. And just to make myself uncomfortable, I know I do love playing defense at the crease, but putting myself in up top defensive drills and positions in practice, made me better. And I may have struggled at first, but I mean, that practice definitely made me more comfortable and more confident, and helped me, become my defensive version of myself now.